If you understand the tales like I do, you would have noticed a strange occurrence across all the tales. There were many references to water among the writings of the various victims of the Langston mine outbreak. If you don't fully understand the outbreak, I would recommend watching this video first. It will be linked on the top right of the screen and in the description. Once you go through all the tales and read each note, you will start to see that these mentions of water are more than coincidence. Even stranger is that the notes I covered in the last 2 lore videos share a connection to the tales, but they are from Wintermute. I think it's time to once and for all figure out why water is so important in the tales. If all goes according to plan, this will be the last video in the Rudiger project story arc. Although it is possible that episode 5 may offer new opportunities to talk about the tales sometime in the future. Before I continue, please make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep making videos like this. What is strange about each mention of water is that it usually has to do with a dream sequence or a writing session meant to sharpen the mind and keep the person focused. These dreams often contained what seemed like a real-life experience and would almost always include water. The writing sessions used to help a victim focus often included thoughts that seemed familiar to them, including direct references of water or things related to water. Let me start from the beginning with Patient 7. Patient 7 shared 2 separate dreams that referenced water. In interview transcript 4, he is dreaming of a summer day at a river with friends.
The sun was out, but it was cold at the river's edge. There was a group of us that day. Lots of laughing, yelling. Some were in our heads. No one was getting in the water. I guess I liked being first. I didn't even jump, just slipped in quietly away from everybody. The water was clear, but bitter cold. I thought the bottom was closer. My head went under right away. God, I was a lousy swimmer. No one noticed me struggling in the deep pool.
Carry on from where you were last session. Find the ending sequence. What do you see?
My hand reaching for a flat gray stone at the water's edge. I grabbed it. I pulled my head out of the freezing water. A breath. The sun shining through the trees. Above us was the sun out? I thought the rain. No. I don't know, that wasn't it.
Keep hold of it.
Here, he remembers laughter and even laughs himself while retelling the dream. He mentions being in a deep pool, which is interesting considering he was in a river during the dream. The final part of the interview shows an alarming change in the dream. It is seemingly the same dream but takes a dark turn. He was struggling to get out of the river and couldn't remember if the sun had been shining. The second half of the dream shows signs that he is already misremembering or confusing the events of his dream. Clearly this is a real-life event that Patient 7 experienced. The fact that he says he was a lousy swimmer and that he had to pull himself out of the water makes it sound like he nearly drowned. This experience, if it was based on a real event, would have been traumatic. Patient 7's other water-related dream, which was from interview transcript 14, is much simpler to understand and backs up my claim from the previous dream.
It was at the beach. Just pictures in my head, feelings. One of those beaches where the sand goes way down to the water, no drop off. I remember a gray day and dark water, no wind, no waves. I was alone, looking around a lot. I didn't understand what was happening. What do you think when you're that little? Always wondered why it was that day, that trip, that stuck with me.
Focus on the ending, the final frame.
They lost me. Just a little kid.
The second dream is a traumatizing event that happened when he was a kid. He was on a beach with either family or friends, but suddenly found himself alone. Since he was little, it's possible he forgot a lot of details for this event. Since it was a traumatic event, he may have blocked even more details. We don't know how he got lost or separated, but this day at the beach clearly scarred him. Lana Vertasky, also known as the security chief, shared 2 water-related notes. The first one is from the security chief's log 32.
Recording as much as I can. The writing helps keep me here. Otherwise, my mind wanders. To the sea. small ships in deep water. My mother's voice.
The final bit of this log includes personal thoughts to help her keep going. I believe this is the case because she also includes her mother's voice. She also mentions small ships, which may be from a personal experience with sailing. These are familiar things that she remembers fondly. Her second water-related note is in her final note, the security chief's log, illegible.
I wanted to see you again. I wanted to feel your hand on my hip. Your smile in my eyes. I can't picture what this thing is without that. Or you. Everything is fading away here. I keep seeing my spot up above, near the waterfall. I want to escape. Oh, that water. On its way to the sea. Far away.
This note is the last thing that the security chief wrote and her final thoughts before death. Despite being on her deathbed, she was capable of writing a lot of details of this romantic scene from the past. In this instance, once again, we are seeing water mentioned in a memorable way. Rudiger shares just one water-related note in Rudiger's diary too.
There is a terrible shadow across my mind, gnawing on its edges. I cannot focus my thoughts. My dreams are strange, a deep, wide ocean, unending.
This water-related note is super simple. I believe Rudiger has had some experience traveling by boat. We know from his testament speech that he traveled around the world on various endeavors. It is very likely he traveled on ships across the wide open ocean on a few occasions. He is dreaming of this wide, unending ocean right as he is beginning to lose focus and start to weaken mentally. I don't know if the context of this note is a positive or negative experience, but we do know that he was unsatisfied by a lot of his past works. Next, we have Sam, who was one of the 2 confirmed survivors of the Langston mine that lived up to the time of the first flare. If you want to hear Sam's full story, check out this video. It will be linked on the top right of the screen and in the description. I keep seeing a river in my head, rushing water to the edge of something, into a deep, foggy place. In the lost worker note, we see the signs that Sam was suffering from the Langston mine outbreak. He was losing focus and seeing a river. I believe this is part of a dream that he is having over and over again. There is very little detail on what this dream of a river means to him. It is likely that Sam experienced a memorable event in a river while in a dense fog. Last, we have the conspiracy theory's mystery person, who is the second confirmed survivor of the Langston mine outbreak. I keep dreaming of the sea, being back on the water again, see myself tumbling down the mountain. Can't stop myself. River swallows me up. Just like Sam, the mystery survivor also wrote down the telltale signs they were suffering from the same outbreak. They also mentioned that a doctor told them to write so they can keep focused, which is almost certainly a reference to the medical officer. They also stated that they regretted staying behind on Great Bear Island. They compared the island to a hole in the ground and they were sitting on the edge. The hole they referred to is a metaphor for the Langston mine. At first I believed the line about falling down a mountain was due to a hiking accident, but I do have a theory that this mystery survivor is actually the foreman of the Rudiger project. Assuming this is the foreman, their experience with this mountain could refer to them chasing Rudiger up and down the high peak mountain in the Sundered Pass. They also mention the sea, which may be due to experiences with sailing or the open seas. The river swallowing them up is most likely a reference to a similar real-life event. If you want to hear this mystery person's full story, check out this video. It will be linked on the top right of the screen and in the description. At this point, I kind of see a pattern for all these dreams and notes about water. I think the reason that the victims of the Langston mine are constantly dreaming and writing about water is because water is something that we as humans are incredibly familiar with. We all share a connection with water as it is one of the building blocks of life. We all must drink water, we all bathe in it, we all live on a planet covered in it, and we share experiences that involve it. It is ingrained in us as a living thing to be drawn by water. Without it, we die. It is this relationship with water across every moment of our lives that makes it so important for us and why these people have it constantly playing on their mind as they are slowly dying. They are dreaming of experiences with water both traumatic and memorable. They are writing about water along with other important personal thoughts of comfort. Water is so essential for us all and can lead to positive and negative experiences. As the victims of the outbreak are deteriorating mentally, their mind is racing to hold on to anything that is left of themselves. Water is and always will be an essential part of our body and experiences. With this in mind, I want to talk about 2 additional things that are very relevant to this outbreak and this strange connection to water. First, I want to talk about the Perseverance Mills outbreak. Definitely make sure you are familiar with this outbreak before continuing with this video. It will be linked on the top right of the screen and in the description. Based on what I concluded in this video, both outbreaks on Great Bear Island, despite being 40 years apart, are related and have a common origin. Even the Perseverance Mills version has a connection to water. The strangers in the final cutscene of episode 4 mention that quarantine breakers from Perseverance Mills were washing ashore after drowning. Based on my conclusion about the importance of water, I think that the quarantine breakers are entering some kind of psychotic event or sleepwalking episode and wandering over to the nearby water. If these outbreaks really are one and the same, then the victims of the PM outbreak must also be dreaming and or thinking about water in a similar way. The quarantine breakers, as they are deteriorating mentally, are being drawn by the water as it is something so important to life and may even be essential for memorable events in their lives. This may be the reason why they are walking into ice-cold waters and just allowing themselves to die. Mentally, they are not capable of saving themselves and they are too fixated on the water to do anything. The final thing I want to talk about in this video is a very far-fetched observation I made while playing in the airfield and the zone of contamination. I don't know if this is related, but it is so bizarre and it is only happening in the far territory. On various occasions, I would find a dead rabbit in a shower either in the main hangar or idle camp. This could just be random item spawning or it could be environmental storytelling. Despite 1,000 hours in the long dark, I've never seen this happen anywhere outside the far territory. There is an exception though when I did find a rabbit steak that was not in a fridge, freezer, or stove of a house, which I think is a weird quirk of the loot spawning. Basically, I think these shower rabbits, as I've been calling them, are potentially connected to this topic of the importance of water in the tales. Finding a whole rabbit indoors is pretty strange, but the weirdest part is that they are ending up dying in the shower. There is also the mysterious chunk of the rabbit that is obviously missing, but I think that may be the way the game spawns in a rabbit corpse as a random loot item. We don't know how long the machine has been producing glimmer fog in the far territory, but I wonder if it's been having an effect on the animals there. I think these rabbits are somehow getting into these buildings and searching for water. Once again, this is a far-fetched idea, but they may even be experiencing the same mental fixation on water just like the human victims of both outbreaks. Take this last section of the video with a huge pile of salt because it is so outlandish that I might be reading way too much into a randomly spawned rabbit corpse. As I end this video, this concludes the story arc for the Rudiger project and the Tales trilogy for now. Maybe when episode 5 releases, I can come back and make some corrections or confirmations. Considering so many new people have joined me recently on this journey through the lore of the Long Dark, I want to give you a little taste of the major lore videos coming up. The next major lore video will be about Methuselah, which will close out the episode 2 story arc that I was hoping to end before the Last Horizon update. After that, I will finally start the episode 3 story arc, starting with the history of Pleasant Valley. Along the way, expect different kinds of videos from time to time, including news about Hinterland and the Long Dark or non-lore topics for the game. If you want to catch up on any lore I've already covered, you can check out the various playlists for the history of the Long Dark, Wintermute, Rudiger's project, the people and places of Great Bear Island, and the buffer memories. They will all be linked in the description. If you enjoyed this lore video for the Long Dark, please don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep making them.